Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Dr. Lewis, Director of Graduate Programs here at the University of Michigan-Flint. I'm really excited that you're here today and that you're here to learn because the topic today is a really important one, and it's something that will really help you in this journey that you're on as a graduate student. Today, we're going to be talking about mindfulness and self-care. It's really important no matter what part of the term you're in, whether you're at the beginning of the term, whether you're at the end of the term, whether you're getting ready for exams or just getting ready for that next class. Being able to be mindful about what you are doing and staying on that track for yourself is so important. I'm really excited that Amanda Burleson is with us again today to talk about this topic. She is one of our CAPS counselors here on campus, and I love the content that she has shared in the past. I know that she's going to be sharing some amazing stuff with you. So I'm going to turn it over to her and let her walk you through some things that you can do to be able to be more mindful and focused on your own self-care. Thanks for being here today, Amanda.
Thank you, Dr. Lewis. All right, and thank you for joining today. We're going to talk about mindfulness and self-care, and I call it a practical approach because sometimes when we talk about mindfulness, it seems like something that is unobtainable or unapproachable. A lot of times people say, well, I've tried meditating and it doesn't really work. But I'm here to tell you today that it doesn't just have to be meditating. There's a lot of different ways that you can use mindfulness, not only in times of stress, but anytime that you need to take a minute and look inward to what's going on inside of you. Like Dr. Lewis said, I'm a counselor at the CAPS office on campus, and we are also part of student health and wellness. So besides doing mental health counseling, we also try to promote wellness across campus. So I wanted to start with a quote today from Morgan Harper Nichols. It says, "You are worth the quiet moment. You are worth the deeper breaths, and you are worth the time it takes to slow down, be still, and rest." And I think that's so important today because at this time of the semester, it doesn't feel like you're able to rest, right? There's so much going on. There's finals, there's projects. It's hard to squeeze out that time to take some deep breaths, to take care of yourself, to rest without feeling guilty, like I should be studying or I should be doing this. So just remember that you are worth that moment, and it's important to take that moment. So today, my plan for today is just a little introduction on mindfulness and also on CAPS if you're not familiar with our office. We're going to take a minute to just chill out, relax, and practice some mindfulness techniques. We'll go over some of the fundamentals of mindfulness, practice some breathing techniques, and then learn how you can incorporate mindfulness in your everyday routines and practices. And then we'll wrap things up. So for an introduction, I wanted to share with you the mission of counseling and psychological services on campus. We recognize that we have a diverse campus, and it's our mission to assist everyone on campus to help them define and accomplish their personal, academic, and professional goals. We use a proactive, responsive, and supportive counseling practice. And we also educate students about mental health on campus, as well as advocate and promote mental health and wellness across the campus community. So just a little rundown if you're not familiar with the CAPS office, or if you've heard of us and not exactly sure exactly what we do, just a little refresher. So mostly we do individual counseling. We also see couples, or we do marital counseling, and only one person of that couple has to actually be a student. So if you have a spouse or a partner that you would like to engage in counseling, but they do not go to UM-Flint, that's okay, as long as one person is a student. We also have some group counseling activities, and right now we have an anxiety support group running on Tuesdays on Zoom at noon. So if you ever get some free time, you can look that up on Campus Connections and jump in on that. You don't have to attend all of them. It's kind of like a mix and match, pick and choose which sessions you want to go to. We do have case management support. So if you are struggling in any way and may need resources outside of the campus community as well as within, We have an excellent case manager, and she also partners with Wolverine Essentials to help students meet those needs. We have some support and skills groups. We have crisis services as well. So we mostly schedule appointments, but we do accept walk-ins Monday through Friday from 8 until 4. After 4 o'clock, we have an answering service that is trained in crisis intervention, especially with college students on university campuses. So there's always someone to speak with, even if it's not in person, it could be a phone call. But you can walk in daily, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. And then we also have referrals to campus and community services for things that we may not approach or deal with in our counseling center, but we can show you where you can find them. We do all sorts of wellness activities, including this. And then we consult with faculty and staff as well if they have concerns or wanting to incorporate more mental health awareness within their coursework. We do workshops and presentations. A lot of times we'll have an outreach session on the 3rd floor, usually of USEN during finals, exam weeks. Also, we're here for like welcome week and orientation, just to kind of have our presence known. And we have some handouts and some goodies. We have QPR, which is suicide prevention training. And whether you're a student or faculty, you can join these trainings so that you can also learn how to be a suicide gatekeeper, and you can prevent suicide and teach others as well. We provide advocacy around campus and clinical support for campus events. Today, April 10th, we're supporting students who are attending the Take Back the Night event. So we'll have some clinicians there in case anyone is feeling triggered about sexual assault or violence and needs someone to speak with. And then we host tabling and information events across the campus community. So it's just kind of a rundown of the things that we offer here. We are located on the 2nd floor of the University Center. However, summer 2024, we are going to be moving to French Hall. The USEN is going to be under construction. So we are actually going to be on the 3rd floor of French Hall in what is the Africana Studies wing. If you would like services over the summer and you don't know how to find us, you can just give us a call. It's 810-762-3456. And also the information is at the end of this presentation. So what all do we provide besides counseling? And like what kind of our common concerns is what mostly people ask. I would say across the board, most likely is depression and anxiety. We also see people who have adjustment to college life, might have homesickness, family conflicts, interpersonal relationship concerns. Maybe some people are having trouble with academic performance and getting motivated, focusing on things. There's sexuality and identity concerns, eating behaviors and body image. We also see students who have maybe alcohol or substance use concerns, and we try to prevent relapse with substance use. And then also we have some anger management resources as well. So aside from counseling, we have some other services that we offer that maybe many people don't know about. We have a massage chair. So if you're feeling stressed, I know sometimes feels like there's like a weight on your shoulder, you can come in and get a massage. We ask that you maybe call the office and schedule that session, maybe 30 minutes, so that you can see if the chair is available. We also have a really cool biofeedback mindfulness training. So in that you can see how using mindfulness can actually alter your heart rate. Sometimes we need to see it in order to know that it's happening. And that's why biofeedback is so awesome. And then we have a light therapy box that provides light therapy during those darker months in the winter, especially in Michigan when we're just not getting enough sunlight. We have several apps. Together All is an online community you can join where you can anonymously seek support for your mental health and well-being. We have a Stress Busters app that's linked on our website, and it's free, available to all U of M students. Right now, the app works well on iPhones, but they're still working out some glitches with Android. And then you may have used the MindWise app website. It is a screening tool to kind of see if you are struggling with mental health, anxiety, depression, or substance abuse. Once you complete that screening, it gives you results immediately. And so you can kind of gauge if you take it more than once, like beginning of the semester, end of the semester, you can kind of see like if there's any progress or what times of the year that you struggle most. So those are some helpful tools. So now let's just take a moment just to kind of relax. If you need to pause and kind of get in a comfy location, that's great. We're just going to take a minute to uh, do a guided meditation.
Hello, my name is Chris Sarandrum. Welcome to Help Guide's Guided Imagery Meditation. Let's start by finding a comfortable position. When you're ready, close your eyes. Now take a few deep breaths. Inhaling slowly, and then exhaling slowly. Continue to breathe in and out. Your belly rising and falling. Enjoying the feel of the calm breath in and out. On the next exhale, imagine any tension that you're holding being released, flowing out of your body. Take another deep inhale and exhale. Feel your body already relaxing, already letting go. Now, you're going to use your ability to visualize and daydream. Let your worries drift away. If distracting thoughts or doubts come into your mind, let them float away like small clouds in a blue sky. Breathe slowly in and out. Imagine yourself at the edge of a beautiful, still lake. The sky is clear blue above you. The sun is sparkling on the water. Imagine yourself sitting at the edge of a dock, with your feet dangling over the water. You feel the rough wood of the dock with your fingers. It's warm from the sun. Feel a light breeze on your face. The breeze is creating ripples on the surface of the water. Everything around you so peaceful. Take another deep breath and relax. Imagine the smell of pine trees all around the lake. Taste the fresh, clean air. Listen to the sound of the water lapping up against the dock. Sound of birds singing in the trees. Imagine closing your eyes and just listening. Feeling the peacefulness of the place. Let go of all your worries and fears. You're breathing slowly in and out. Feel the warmth of the sun on your skin and the coolness of the water on your feet, soothing away all your tension. This place is so restful, so full of peace. Mind is completely still. If you have any last thoughts or worries, let them drift away. Your body is rested and at peace. Take one more deep breath in and let it go. Keep breathing. Ready. Gently open your eyes. Look up to your surroundings. Take note of how you feel. Is your body more relaxed? Do you feel more calm and control? If so, that's the power of imagination. As Albert Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination circles the world.
Okay, as we come back to reality, welcome back. Sometimes you might need to pause the recording again, just kind of ease yourself back in, re-engage with the presentation. That's okay. I like that example. It's just 5.5 minutes. It's like a little vacation for yourself. And that one is through Mind Tap, but you could also just search on YouTube for like 5-minute mindfulness guided imagery or guided meditation. I think the guided meditation can be helpful too, especially if you have a habit of letting your mind wander, because this kind of gives you a way to keep bringing it back. Just if you are just sitting there trying to meditate, can be even more frustrating if you start thinking of all the things you need to do. So I wanted to also share this quote from Brene Brown. It says that practicing self-love means learning to trust ourselves, to be able to treat ourselves with respect and be kind and affectionate to ourselves. And if you just kind of think on that for a minute, that seeking mindfulness is loving yourself. It's showing yourself respect and allowing yourself to think your thoughts objectively without any kind of judgment. And it may take practice. A lot of times we're used to being our own inner critic, which can help keep us in line. It can help us stay focused, but it can also tend to beat ourselves up. So just a reminder to be kind and affectionate to yourself. Okay, and here are some of the fundamentals of mindfulness. The main goal is to wake up to the inner workings of your mental, emotional, and physical processes. And so that means that you're focusing your intention inward. It's intentional, and you're using your attention to notice what kinds of things are going on with you, whether it is emotional or how it relates to mental processes and your physical self. It means being fully present in the moment, aware of what you're doing, where you are, and not becoming reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on. Again, graduate school is a time where you are multitasking, where you are trying to be 2 places at once, trying to get everything done. And it's difficult to be fully present in the moment. So this can be a gift to yourself, where you're focusing just on one thing, where you are, what you're doing, and looking at it through a non-judgmental standpoint. And then Jon Kabat-Zinn also adds that it's a service of self-understanding and also seeking that wisdom. So there's 7 principles of mindfulness, and we'll go over them just briefly. And then if you do want more information about any of these principles, you can just look it up online, you can kind of Google it. I want to also make sure we have time to do more of the practical application. But I wanted to show some of the highlights here. I know I mentioned non-judgment before. That's why I put that as one of the first principles, is because you're able to observe your thoughts. You can consider them and move past it without judging yourself or your thoughts. And then an affirmation that you can use if you are looking at how to be more judgmental is telling yourself, I am not my thoughts. They are simply thoughts. And anytime a thought that pops up that might be disparaging or self-critical, you can just say to yourself, I am not my thoughts. They are just thoughts. Your thoughts are, of course, important, but they don't define you. So another principle is patience. It can be hard to learn to live in the present. Instead of, we spend a lot of time reliving the past, we try to predict or even change what the future holds. And if we find ourselves trying to rush or look back, an affirmation for that is, I understand and accept that things will emerge in their own time. And we look at things through what we call a beginner's mind. Everyone has their experiences of the past that you bring with you. And a lot of times the past experiences act as a filter. And so we see those things through like a filter, just like on like Snapchat, where you're looking at it and it's the real you, but there are things that are clouded or altered. So with a beginner's mind, you're looking at things uncluttered, almost as if you're seeing it for the first time. One of the mantras or affirmations you can use for that is that every moment is a chance to learn. You may have made mistakes in the past. You may be afraid of making mistakes in the future, but just remember that every moment is a chance to learn. And again, this is like the first time you're doing something. So this may be the first time you're in graduate school, or it might be the first time you're doing this clinical rotation, or the first time you're taking that specific exam. So once you remind yourself that you haven't done this exact moment before, it gives you some slack and kind of lets you off the hook. And that leads us to also having trust in yourself. So the principle of trust is not just trusting that you can do it, but trusting your beliefs and your intuition, knowing that you're letting your values guide you. One of the affirmations for that could be, I trust that I'm on the right path based on my own beliefs and my own values. The next principle would be acceptance. So that's not necessarily complacency. It's more like you're accepting this situation without wishing it were different. You're allowing things to just be. This doesn't mean if you are in a experience where you're experiencing maltreatment or abuse, that doesn't mean go ahead and accept it. It means you're understanding that that is what the situation is right now. This is where you hear a lot of people say, well, it is what it is, right? You're saying, I accept things as they are in the moment without trying to change them, unless, of course, there's danger. But we try to identify a problem and offer a solution. But sometimes we have to just look at it as it is, and we don't need to change it. Which really goes along into the non-striving perspective, so that it's recognizing that who you are right now, in this moment, with the tools you have, is enough. You don't need to strive to be different or to be better, because you are enough as you are. Again, a difficult one for graduate students, because we are striving, we are trying to do better, we are trying to get everything done. But if you just slow down for a minute and remind yourself, you are enough. And then the last principle, which is just as important as the others, is letting go. So focusing on the present, focusing on what matters in the here and now, letting go of past mistakes, letting go of anger, letting go of trauma, kind of freeing yourself from anything that's weighing you down. And then the affirmation for that is, I free myself of worry and focus on this moment. If you're not a fan of affirmations, self-disclosure, I never was before until I learned the beauty in them is that if you are stuck in like a negative thought loop, and you have an affirmation just on hand, you can replace that negative thought and just use an affirmation that you can repeat that's quick and easy and takes your focus off of the negative thought or whatever is happening or the worry you have, and just focus on something positive. So mindfulness is more than just reducing your stress, right? We think of mindfulness as like a way to cope, but it's actually more of a lifestyle. It trains your body to thrive. There's a lot of athletes that study sports psychology, and they're using mindfulness to learn how to accept any negative thoughts they might have before a game. There's basketball players who've learned how to follow their breath and use their breath work to work for them. And then also transforming fears. You don't think of an athlete as having fears, but they may, and you have to really transform that so that it can be powerful. If you're a Michigan football fan, I'd like to think about J.J. McCarthy sitting under the goalpost meditating, right? That's an image of somebody you wouldn't necessarily think of using mindfulness. And it can be very powerful, and he's led his team to victories. So mindfulness can also boost your creativity because it's calming down those distractive thoughts. So you can brainstorm, you can have more imagination, you can increase your awareness and see thoughts better rather than just have your mind feeling like it's kind of cluttered. And that doesn't necessarily have to be artistic creativity. That can be any kind of creativity. That could be writing, or that could be doing like more of a technology creation, or even problem solving. So what it does with your brain is by using mindfulness, like I mentioned with the affirmations, you're actually training your brain to use a different pathway. We are creatures of habit. Our brains are like that too. It finds the path of least resistance. So I think of it as like always taking the same exit on the highway, right? And then there's a detour, and it's frustrating because you don't know where to go, right? So our brains build pathways with use. So if you are strengthening those connections, you can increase your concentration. You can stop your brain from always going to like the worst case scenario or a negative or self-criticism. And you can engage in more flexible thinking, more awareness of your thoughts. And then again, the stress reduction is the best part. Most people after using mindfulness feel kinder, calmer, more patient, and you're able to learn how to separate yourself from your thoughts. And then again, that affirmation of like, I am not my thoughts, right? You can have a thought, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. It is just a thought, and it does not define you. So basics of mindfulness practice, of course, you want to set aside some time. You don't need fancy stuff. Sometimes people want to have a yoga mat, something comfortable, and that's fine. You can choose to use candles or music or incense or whatever you want, but you don't have to. All you need is this time for yourself and some space and some quiet. Another basic is observing the present moment just as it is. If you try to quiet your mind, sometimes it makes it more cluttered, right? Like if I were to say, whatever you do, do not think about a purple kangaroo. And all of a sudden, all you can think about is purple kangaroo. So we're not trying to quiet the mind. You're trying to pay attention to the present moment. And if you do have thoughts come up, you can just let them go. Like the next basic is letting your judgments roll by. So you notice if you are having any judgments, and you can make a note of that and let it go. And by judgments, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are like saying something is good or bad, but that it's neutral. It's not the best, it's not the worst. It may not be pleasant, it may not be uncomfortable, it just is. So letting those thoughts as they creep up, as they show up in your mind, just letting them go. And then when you do notice thoughts coming up and you let them go, return to that present moment as it is. It's okay if you have thoughts coming and going, right? Because mindfulness is a process, it's not a destination. The mindfulness is realizing, okay, I'm going to have thoughts and I'm going to observe those and I'm going to let them go. And so the more and more thoughts that you have, the more practice you have in letting those thoughts roll by. I liked in that guided meditation about the clouds. You observe the cloud as it's going by. You don't reach out and grab it. You don't judge it. You just let it go. Sometimes in mindfulness or in meditation, we might have some thoughts that you think like, whoa, where did this come from? And remember that those are just thoughts and not to judge yourself, right? It takes some practice to pull yourself back when your mind starts wandering off. But it's possible. I kind of think of this as like when you're in lecture and you are trying to pay attention, and I know it happens. All of a sudden you think like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do for dinner? Did I pay that bill? But then you bring your thoughts back to what is happening or what the lecturer or instructor is talking about. And we do it all the time. We just don't necessarily notice it as being mindful. So here's a cute little infographic, and you can do a screenshot on this. It's by the Mindful staff from mindful.org. So basically just saying like, have a seat, find something comfy, wear comfy clothes if you can. Set a time limit. I mean, it doesn't have to be a long time. You can be mindful in 1 minute. You can be mindful in 5 minutes. You can be mindful in half an hour. But just while you're beginning, just set aside some time. Schedule it, put it in your calendar, have a little reminder on your phone. It's time to be mindful. And as you begin your practice, notice how your body is. If you're sitting down in a chair, kind of think about your bottom sitting in that chair or your feet on the floor. Notice how your back is sitting. Notice what your posture is like. And just sit in that. Feel your breath, and you can follow that sensation as your air goes in. A lot of times you don't even need any fancy breathing techniques. It's just that awareness of your breath coming in and your attention following it as it goes in, usually through your nose, and then feel it filling up your lungs or your diaphragm, paying attention as that breath exhales. Notice where your mind has wandered, because it may wander. Notice it, return your attention to your breath. And then, of course, like I said before, be kind to that wandering mind. Don't judge yourself. Don't obsess over the things that you're thinking. Try not to get lost in it. Just come right back. Breathing is something that we all need to do to live. It's a survival function, of course, but it also means that just like we don't go places usually without our phones, you can't go anywhere without breath. And you can practice mindfulness. You can pay attention to your breathing wherever you are. And if you are stressed, if you are frustrated, you can always just return to your breath. Just take a note of how your breathing is. Another thing is you can put your hand on your chest and feel your heartbeat. What we call like from a polyvagal perspective, where you're incorporating your vagal nerve also with your breathing, is that you can place one hand on your stomach, one hand on your heart, and that's building a connection between your dorsal and ventral vagal nerve. And it can be very powerful in connecting with yourself. So quickly, I'd like to get into some breathing techniques. Like I said, you don't need anything fancy, but if you do want to learn some new techniques for breathing, I have a few here. One thing I want to point out, this isn't Jay Shetty, but I found a picture that looked like him. He studied to be a monk. I think there might be some controversy about him right now, but you can see his videos on like Instagram Reels or TikTok or YouTube. And he really has a lot of insight in your breath work and how it changes you. So he says in his book, Think Like a Monk, he says, when you get stressed, what changes? Your breath. When you get angry, what changes? Your breath. Every emotion we experience can change with your breath. So when you learn to navigate and manage your breath, you can navigate any situation in your life. Another thing I've heard by a yoga instructor is that all you have to do is breathe and things will change. So any thought, any situation, any experience, if you want to be able to navigate that or change it better, just focus on your breathing. So this example here is called box breathing. You can find little GIFs on the internet too, so you can follow along. This one just shows that you breathe in for 4 seconds. Then you would hold it. So breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and then you breathe out for 4, and then hold that breath out before breathing in. This is a really great way to reset your nervous system. If you are upset about something, or you are worried about something, or you notice that your heart is beating really fast, this is a really great way to get out of the more autonomic nervous response that we have and engage in your parasympathetic responses. So it's basically your brain telling your body, we're okay, we're safe, we're calm. Another way of doing mindful breathing is, like the infographic said, you find a quiet, comfortable place, put your hands on your lap or your stomach, and then focus on your breathing. So inhaling deeply and exhaling and paying attention to the flow of your breath. You can just do this as many times as you need to for as long as you like. And it's really easy. There's not a lot of steps, even though it says like there's 9 steps, it takes less than like 10 seconds. So it's something you can do anywhere. How to incorporate this into your everyday practices. There's a lot of different ways, right? We can do mindful breathing, which is just your normal breathing, but you're paying attention. You're noticing, am I breathing right into my up here and my upper chest? Am I engaging my lungs? A lot of times when we're nervous, upset, excited, frustrated, we're not taking full breaths. We're just bringing air in right here up to our chest, and it's not fully giving as much oxygen as it can. It's not going through the whole process. So as you pay attention, you can notice like, okay, there's more of a rise and fall. Okay, I'm using my diaphragm more that time, and just paying attention to it. Some people will count their breaths. This can help with if you get stuck in a negative thought loop, if you are having anxiety, or if you're thinking negatively. Again, it's a distraction method, because as you count your breaths, you're not thinking about the thing that was bothering you. Deep breathing, I think that's probably one that people are mostly aware of or have heard of, and that is also called belly breathing. So that's bringing your air into your diaphragm. You can place your hand on your stomach and feel it rise. And that's when you know that you've brought breath into your diaphragm. And then as you exhale, exhale completely. So you're blowing all the air out. If you notice when you exhale and then you try to exhale again, there's still air there. So by doing that second exhale, you're deactivating the stress response again. Another technique is 2-4 breathing. Sometimes runners will use this to the cadence of their footsteps. They might do a 2 or a 3 or 2-4, where you are exhaling longer than you inhale. So you would inhale for 2 counts and then exhale for 4 slow breaths. So what it's doing is it's slowing your breathing down. You're not bringing in as much as you are exhaling. So it's really pushing the breath out. It slows your heart rate. It helps with blood pressure. People who are prone to hyperventilating, it helps. Sometimes people even take a straw so that they can focus their breath out. And it's using a little bit of resistance through that straw. And then there's energizing breaths. Usually we think about breathing techniques as a way to calm down, But if anybody is ever going through that, like executive dysfunction, or they're having a hard time getting started, getting motivated, not knowing how to prioritize things, you can boost your energy. So if you inhale 4 equal breaths, and not just 4 counts, but 4 distinct breaths, and then 1 slow breath. That can kind of give you that little jump that you need to get moving on things. Okay, and then this was something I found is like a mindfulness weekly schedule. You don't have to follow it to a T, but you can screenshot it and just have it as another tool where if you are getting bored of one thing or you want to try different things, this is just kind of like ways you can incorporate mindfulness into your routine. A lot of times, if we don't build it into our daily lives, it doesn't happen. So it's helpful to just schedule it. So some of the things are like positive visualization. You can have meditation in motion. There are things on like podcasts or YouTube that are walking meditations. So just pop in your earbuds and go for a walk, and you can meditate as you walk. It also gives you that shot of nature. It's getting nice out. The spring is finally springing, and the grass is green and the birds are chirping, and we need that connection. So I love mindfulness and meditation in motion. Maybe it's evening time and your thoughts are racing and you're thinking about all the work you've got to get done. Well, how am I going to get the kids off to school, get to clinicals on time, get all this done? Try some conscious breathing before sleeping. And the conscious breathing is just pay attention to your breaths. When you notice you're having another thought, you just let that thought go, return to your breathing. Another thing that I didn't focus on a lot here because we're working on breath work, but mindful eating is so important as well for health and nutrition. So many times we are grabbing things on the go. You may be, having lunch while you study, or, you're watching TV while you gobble something down, or even, take out in the car. Practice sometimes where you are just sitting down and eating, and you're paying attention to what you're eating. Maybe paying attention to the smell. So it's, the scent of your food before you eat it, or paying attention to that texture or the taste, how it makes you feel. One thing is that people who use mindful eating, they notice they feel fuller faster. It tends to decrease the amount of like overeating, or what we call storm eating, where you're basically just throwing food in your face because you need to eat because you don't have time to do it later. It gives you a chance to just calm down and enjoy your meal. And you can even do mindful eating, even if you are with a group. If you're out to eat or something, doesn't mean you can't talk to anyone at all. It just means that you are more mindful or more intentional about what you're choosing to eat and paying attention to the whole process. Again, everyday processes, you can do walking meditation, you can eat mindfully, you can make a commitment to show loving kindness to yourself. And in doing that, you're reflecting on your strengths and your achievements. When we're stressed, when we're focused on performance, a lot of times we forget about what our strengths are or what we've already accomplished. A nice little affirmation or mantra that you can say is, may I live in peace, may I have joy. Another one is, yourself, you can say, may you be safe, may you heal, may you be well. You can say this before an exam, may I pass this exam, may I be less stressed. And you're just giving yourself kind wishes like you would for a friend. And then again, if you're having some negative thoughts about yourself, instead of thinking badly about yourself for having that negative thought, you acknowledge that, oh, okay, that was a thought and it's okay. I'm going to let it go, instead of grasping onto the negative thought and feeling bad about it. So something you can try tonight, even when you wind down to fall asleep, is dim the lights. right? Maybe even an hour before it's time to go to sleep, start turning off some lights. Try to avoid looking at screens. I know it's hard. We use our phones and tablets for everything, right? But try to limit your long time exposure to screens before bed. You can do a mindful body scan. So as you're lying down or you're sitting up, you just pay attention to your whole body. So you can start from the top of your head and you just think about, okay, like, how am I feeling right now? What is my head feeling like? What kind of thoughts am I thinking? Or you think about, okay, so now how's my neck doing? Is it tense? Am I holding my shoulders up? Am I feeling the weight of the day fall off of me? Where are my hands? Are my hands clenched? If so, just let them open up. You can let your leg muscles relax. Maybe do some circles with your feet to kind of relax or disengage your ankles and your calves. And in this way, you're doing a body scan, but you're also using progressive muscle relaxation and reminding yourself that a good night's sleep is a gift. Is a gift to yourself so that you can rejuvenate, you can restore, you can relax and be refreshed for the next day. So many times we sacrifice sleep for studying or for work or for doing other things or for scrolling on our phones. I'm guilty of it too, but it's not helping and it's not a sacrifice that we should be taking because we need that sleep. That's a time for your body and your brain to refresh and to rejuvenate and to heal. So thank you very much for tuning in. Again, I'm Amanda Burleson, and I'm a counselor from UM-Flint Counseling and Psychological Services. Generally, we're on the second floor of the USEN, and we share an office with Disability and Accessibility Services. This summer, while the USEN is under construction, we will be over in French Hall on the third floor in the Africana Studies Department. And again, I'm just crediting the presentation by SlidesGo. It's not a sponsor or anything. It's just, that's what I borrowed it from. So if you have any questions, you can always give us a call. You can go on the website. You can request an appointment from the intranet once you're on our CAPS website. So yeah, feel free to connect. And again, that number, the 762-3456, really easy to remember. That's also the number for any of our crisis services. And you would just press 0 when you are prompted. So thank you so much. Do well on your final exams. Have a wonderful rest of your semester and enjoy this great weather.
Thank you, Amanda, for being here today, for sharing all of this amazing resources, all the amazing resources that you shared today. I encourage all of you, if this is the first session that you're watching, there's a number of other ones that we have offered over this term, past terms, that are all here in our graduate community in Canvas that will allow for you to be able to think about your graduate school journey in a little bit different way. And I encourage you to explore all of these because they will help you in so many different ways. So all of these are housed in our graduate student community on Canvas. Go there, check them all out. And I encourage you to reach out if you have any questions. Thanks for watching today and for being a part of this. And we'll be talking with you again in the near future. Have a great day.